Welcome to the Gal's Guide to the Galaxy podcast, where a group of gals gather for you one cool thing around our topic of the month. Is it ancient history? Is it breaking news? Is it safe for work? Well, that's up to each gal. All we know is that...
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Welcome back. I'm Katie, and I'm joined by Bonnie, Leah, and Jen talking about our one cool science gal. Bonnie already talked about Rosalind Franklin. Rosalind Franklin. Roz. And before we dive back in, Leah is going to tell us what's going on in the Gal's Guide calendar this week.
That's right. So for the week of May 9th through the 15th, if you were in Noblesville for the on-ramp workshop training, come see the Gal's Guide booth in the South Alley from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. and come learn what we are all about. That is Thursday, May 12th. Also, do you like to kick butts and eat nuts? Well, then you're going to love meeting the unbeatable Squirrel Girl at the Fishers Library. So that's right. Our friend of the Gal's Guide Library, Squirrel Girl, will be posing for pictures and encouraging people to paint on the Fishers Arts Council's triptych. It's basically 3 canvases that all connect into a thing. I had to be explained what that was. Of the Great Squirrel Stampede of 1822. So you are invited to paint on these 3 amazing canvases before it goes on display in Fishers for the anniversary. So that is Saturday, May 14th from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m.
Is it paint by numbers?
It is basically kind of like a coloring page.
Okay.
So it doesn't have a number on it, but it's that same basic idea where you can pick a section and color in between the lines is what they recommend. And then everybody's a part of it. So it's pretty cool.
I might need to go to figure out more about this squirrel stampede.
The Squirrel Stampede is pretty awesome. Didn't we talk about it last time?
Maybe, but it sounds like a Parks and Rec episode.
It kind of is, but it happened in Noblesville. Yes, exactly. Squirrels ran out of food and they just run amok at the town. It's fantastic. But Squirrel Girl has been working in therapy with the other squirrels to make sure that we're all okay and we're all super and stuff. But Katie, you had a get to know you question for us.
I certainly do.
Yeah.
I would like to know... I mean, it's not a hard question, but let me find it in the script.
Okay, yes, because you want to get it right. Yeah,
I do.
absolutely,
I don't want to mess this up.
Yes.
Would you donate your body to science after you die?
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not using it anymore.
Right?
Like,
see?
No, I would need to get the logistics on all of it because I'm an
organ donor.
Yeah, I'm an organ donor.
Right.
I don't think while the body farms are very important.
Yes.
Don't think I'd want to donate to the body farm.
Right.
Have you ever read what is it? It's the Mary Roach book about what they do with dead bodies. Is it Stiff?
Yeah. Stiff. Yes.
Stiff.
I was thinking
So
Grunt.
she talks about the body farms. She also talks about how corpses are used with testing car safety.
Oh.
So you could be one of those corpses.
Nice.
Great.
I'm trying to remember the other ones, but I read it
Good job.
a decade ago or something.
Right.
But there's a few different choices.
I read there's quite a few morticians on TikTok.
Oh, really? All right.
And I particularly liked
must be
one that
entertaining.
was explaining about they do the embalming process.
Right.
They have to plug up holes.
Yes.
So he got a very big kick out of these people who are very anti-LGBTQ, and you get buried with a butt plug.
I love it.
See, I'm all for donating my body to science. Impersonal people I don't know, just discover something if you need to, or just whatever.
Right.
But I have strict rules about we're not doing a viewing with an open casket. We're
Right.
not embalming. That's where my rules are at a personal level.
Yes.
It's you're not handling me. You're not looking at me. No.
Exactly.
No.
Josh knows this and he taunts me all the time. No, we're definitely having an open casket. And I'm going to be,
It's going to be an address that you hate.
right.
I love it. Jen, do you have it all figured out?
No. It took me a while to even become an organ donor because it freaked me out and creeped me out. The thought of my heart being in somebody else. But like you said, not using it. But
Right, exactly.
actually, what turned me around on that was someone would be willing to give me their kidney.
Right.
So when I is if I'm willing to take it, should be willing to give it.
Right,
so
exactly.
That's what changed my mind with that. So I probably have to read more
to
look into it. I probably eventually would say yes, just because of the science part. My kid has a different take on it, though. I don't think he'd allow that because he's already told me that where the casket's going to be and what color it's going to be. And I'm like, dude, why are you thinking about it this much?
You got to plan stuff out just in case.
I'm not allowed to be cremated, apparently, either. I mean, so, yeah, I probably would if given enough information.
Right. For the longest time, I wanted all of my organs, with me when I kind of like passed and stuff like that. But then my daughter's in medical school. Mm-hmm. And so she was really, talking about the importance of, being able to be an organ donor and being able to be, the ultimate gift of giving somebody else life. And I'm like, damn it, you are too smart. So, so I'm an organ donor, and if she talks me into donating to my body to science, I would probably do it. But because I'm Buddhist, it's very much a cremation situation. And then there's actually this process that I'm going to be taking a class on that's called Jitro. Starts with a Z. It's the 49 days after you have died.
Okay.
That you do summonings to make sure that your soul and energy goes to the next place. So sometimes in that process, you don't have a cremation, and then sometimes you do. So it just depends. So there is part of that because I really, really love that process and that therapy for the people who are living, basically, of the Z. Because it really is more for the living than it is for the dead. They're gone. Yeah. So, but again, my daughter's really smart and she can talk me into things. So if it's for the good of other people, I'll probably be like, yep, great idea. Let's do this. But if my husband plays Big Old Jet Airliner, he's been threatening to play that song at my funeral. He says it encompasses me. And I'm like, there is no part of Big Old Jet Airliner that encompasses me. But Katie, what would you do? What do I have to arm wrestle Josh for to make sure that your needs are met?
Oh, for my funeral?
Yes. And for your body of wherever it's going. Is it going to science?
Well, first of all, I need to get one of those 911 alert bracelets that goes to you.
Yes. Because that's a better idea.
Recently, we were having some plumbing problems.
Yeah.
And I was like, if our tub falls from the second story to the bottom, because we've had like a slow leak, I was like, you have to clothe me before you call to have my body removed from the house. And he was like, no, I'm just going to roll you out on the porch.
Okay. All right.
So let's just start
you
with,
need an immediate
minor
alarm to me. Yes. I will make sure that you have clothes on.
But, speaking of calling a doctor.
Yes.
It's a good segue to my lady.
Yes.
Because I'm going to be telling you about England's first female physician, female doctor.
Hey, doctors! Look at that.
And I read about her in a few various online sources, but one I liked laid out her life as 11 little known facts.
Oh, yes.
About Elizabeth Garret Anderson.
Elizabeth Garret Anderson.
So I'm going to kind of follow along with that to introduce her to you guys. So she was born on June 9th, 1836 in Whitechapel, London. She was one of 12 children of a pawnbroker.
Oh my gosh. Right? Was business booming or something? 12 children and a pawnbroker. Okay, cool.
Well, he started out as a pawnbroker, but he was clearly a very motivated kind of businessman type.
Was he in the mafia?
Nope.
Okay, because I hear motivated and pawn in the same sentence, and I'm like, is he also in waste management in New Jersey?
Nope, he was the manager of them. Okay. And he just like hopped around from different kinds of industries, managing, and I don't know, is that the typical business trajectory these days? You're like, you just got to learn how to make other people work, and then you keep working higher and doing better.
Yeah, there you go.
So he did eventually end up, he owned, I was trying to find a malting barley industry.
Yeah. Yep, there you go. It helps make beer.
Cheers to that.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
I'll tip my PBR to that.
I like it.
But he owned a few different businesses, and eventually they were able to build their own mansion.
Or a second house.
So he was like,
he had a second house.
Not that I know of, but
because there's a line,
just one really big one.
That would not fly in the Franklin
both
house.
Of these parents, like these, like nice black and white photos from the day, they look like very humble, grouchy old people.
Oh, well,
so I'm sure they had one house and lots of rules.
Well, they were British.
That's the default of the British look.
Kids.
Yes,
Like,
she
wouldn't
was
you
one
be
of
crazy
12.
too?
Wouldn't you be tired?
And the first three they had very quickly, and Elizabeth was one of them.
Yeah.
And then there was a bit of a pause, I think, as he worked on his career and they like settled into life, and then had the rest of them a little bit later.
Yeah.
So she did like, since she was, I think, the second born,
Okay.
there was a big gap between her and some of her other siblings down the road.
All right. There you go.
But yeah, one of 12.
Wow.
Another surprising fact for somebody who became a physician, because, we know how much schooling and how much intelligence that takes.
Right.
She didn't attend school until she was a teenager.
Oh my gosh.
So in the town they lived in, there was no school.
Was she like home?
She was homeschooled.
Okay.
She was homeschooled.
Yeah, sure.
And stuff.
She was
Well,
homeschooled
12
by
kids.
her mom.
Because,
Yeah.
they
Isn't
didn't
it
have
cheaper
public...
to just hire one
No,
teacher to
well,
come
yeah.
to? You know what I mean? You have a
Yeah.
classroom almost at this point.
Exactly. And it
then
cost
they
money
kinda
to send
did.
those kids to school, no matter how old they were.
Hire one teacher. Done.
So she was taught by her mom until the age of 10. But then they hired a governess.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
So, and Elizabeth wasn't very fond of her governess because she wanted to learn more about science and math and those kinds of subjects.
Right.
And she eventually went to boarding school, and that was also her really big complaint. She didn't like her experience there because they didn't teach her about math and science. They just
I like
wanted
that
to
she knew what she
teach about
liked, though.
literature,
It's
right?
focused.
Yep.
She definitely had an interest. And one thing that struck me as I read it is a lot of times when we were doing these podcasts, we talk about these highly intelligent women who are like, oh, their families were like so literate and so educated.
Yeah.
And they surrounded them in books and they encouraged their education. And her parents definitely didn't hold her back, but that's not the kind of people they were.
Oh, gotcha.
They weren't like, let's bury our noses in books and discuss philosophy at the dinner table kind of parents.
Right.
But they definitely were supportive of her and did help her get that education through mom schooling her and then the governess and then going away to school.
Yeah.
They also encouraged them to go out and explore the town and learn things. And even when she was done with her boarding school, they encouraged her to travel.
Gotcha.
So she did a little traveling after that experience.
They let her live her life then.
Yeah.
There you go. That's even better.
Absolutely. So if you know your British suffragettes,
A little bit.
yeah.
Yep.
Bonnie's on it.
Elizabeth's younger sister
Okay.
was Millicent Fawcett.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
And I thought this was really cute because I'm not even counting down these facts. You guys might not believe me. And I'm throwing in random facts. But I'm going to kind of tie these together because the other fact is that she was also lifelong friends with Emily Davies.
Oh, okay.
And
Gotcha.
Emily Davies was an early feminist who helped co-found the Girton College in Cambridge.
Okay. Gotcha.
So, and I just thought this was really cute that apparently Davies and Garret were visiting one time and they were talking to her friend or her sister Millicent.
Right. Yeah.
And they were talking about Elizabeth Blackwell,
Oh,
who
yeah.
was the first American
American, yeah.
doctor,
Yeah.
female doctor, who was really a big inspiration to Elizabeth, this Elizabeth.
Yes. Right.
Garret.
Exactly. Yeah.
And in fact, she met her and she attended her lecture, and they were discussing her lecture on medicine as a profession for ladies.
Nice.
So she was talking to her sister and her dearest friend, and they decided they were talking about selecting careers for advancing the frontiers of women's rights. So they decided Garret could be the doctor in the medical profession. Davies would open the doors of universities for women. And then her sister, Millicent, at that point was 13 years old. And they allocated her politics and votes for women as what she would do.
Yes.
And I thought
They're
that
like
was-
Charlie's Angels.
right?
Oh
I just
my
thought that was really
gosh.
cool because then that's what her,
Yeah.
significantly younger sister ended up doing.
Oh, that's
And
so
her friend,
cute.
her friend Davies.
Aw.
I can't remember her
Beautiful.
first name at the moment, but I assume it's Elizabeth because that was everybody's name back then.
You said, I think, Emily.
Emily.
Elizabeth, Margaret, Mary.
Emily Davies, that's right.
There you go.
Another cool
Aw.
fact about Elizabeth's life, and we kind of touched on this a little when we were talking about her parents, but that her father supported her radical ideas.
That women are people?
Yeah.
Science.
Okay,
Yes.
that one. Okay.
So at first,
the
her,
desire to do math.
her dad was kind of, not on board with her becoming a doctor. Was like, well, we don't
Sure.
do that in England. That's not a thing.
Right.
And then I thought this was funny. Like, so her dad wasn't really into it, but then he she brought him around, and he changed his mind and supported her financially,
Yeah.
and just supported her through the whole process. However, apparently her mom was horrified
Oh, God.
that she wanted to do this.
Oh, my goodness. The
sense.
blood.
Sorry.
The blood.
Right. So he did his best to support her. And of course, she couldn't just go to a college and learn these things.
Right.
She instead went to school for nursing and learned what she could there.
Yeah.
And then she went and took, set in on some of the classes that the men could do
Yeah.
in, like, anatomy and physiology.
Right.
But then the men started complaining and writing letters to the dean.
So there was a woman in class.
Yeah, so she was kicked out of those classes. Yeah.
Cool.
So then, but her passion is so strong that she actually hired private tutors for any of the different subjects she wanted to learn.
There you go.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I want to get the name. So after she's done all of these different types of medical classes, and she did get an honor certificate in chemistry
not a
and materia.
titular,
No. So she found a loophole in the Society of Apothecaries.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a step
Sure.
down
Yeah.
from doctors.
Yes.
She can practice medicine, but she's not like an MD.
Oh,
Right.
But she
okay.
found a loophole that allowed women
Yes.
to sit and to get the credentials.
Right. To be an
Um,
apothecaryist.
Apothecariist, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I made that up. I don't even know if that's
I liked it though.
Just run with it.
It's really
That's what we do.
fancy word.
right.
So she brought this to the society and said, "Hey, there's nothing saying I can't do this. You have to let me do this." And they were
Right.
like, "No, we're not going to let you do this."
But that's how Elizabeth Blackwell got in.
So then
Uh-huh.
her dad says, "If you don't let her do this, I'm going to sue you."
Yes.
Wow.
That's a dad right
Mr.
there.
Dad businessman was like, "I don't think so."
Mhm. And then the British went, oh, no.
So she was able to sit for the test and she got her LSA degree.
Okay.
And then
If
they
only it was
immediately
an LSD degree in apothecary. That would have been amazing. Okay, LSA, got it.
I'd like that.
Licensed seller of apothecary? I'm just making stuff up. I don't know.
You want to know what it stands for?
Yeah, what does LSA? Go with
Oh
license.
God, what word is that?
Oh, no.
I mean, it's licensed, but it's like a British perverted version.
Okay.
Licentant. A I don't know.
Licentant? Okay, person who
Licentate?
has a license.
Licentate of the Society of Apothecaries.
Oh, the
Okay.
Society of
Licitate
Apothecaries.
of the
Got
society.
it. It's a secret society.
But you'll be shocked that this
Yes.
society, after giving her these credentials,
Oh, no.
changed their rules so no more women could come in and do this.
Just one.
One got through.
Uh-huh.
One got
So
through,
many.
and they had to.
Close that door.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Seal it. Cement it. Cool.
So she did practice medicine, and it was hard for her, of course, to get
Clients?
clients.
Yeah, patients.
I was
yeah.
going to say customers. I'm
Right,
like,
I know,
patients.
I know, I'm with it,
Clients,
yeah.
patients, customers.
Yeah.
It was hard for her to get that, but then I guess luckily there was an outbreak of cholera.
Luckily, I like, yeah. I think putting a
Question
question
mark?
mark after luckily is a good idea there. Yes, but then there was cholera. So,
Yeah.
options.
So then her struggling practice went from, not
Booming.
many to like 3,000 coming into her apothecary and then 9,000 house visits in a year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean,
she
cholera
got
was
3,000 new patients and she had 9,300 outpatient visits
Wow.
for her dispensary she opened.
dispensary.
I think it's also nice to note that her dispensary was called the St. Mary's Dispensary for Women and Children.
Oh, so she put
Like she wanted to
women in
focus
there.
on women and children with what she did.
Yeah.
Excellent. Good job, lady.
Yes. Let's see.
Oh, she's got a British plaque. Sorry, I saw on your phone. I know those. If you go back to that blue thing, the blue circle,
Yes.
that's her British plaque.
She does.
Look at that.
25 a day.
Yeah, there's lots of British
Yeah.
plaques, but I love them.
No,
Yeah.
it's 9,000
Oh,
in
that's
a
how many.
year.
Yeah,
oh,
see,
that's how many
that's-
patients she's seeing.
That was the number I was trying to figure out.
How many a
too.
day?
25.
5. Wow.
Wow. There you go.
Oh, man. It's busy lady. And that's what she doesn't
She was
take a day
super
off.
busy. She also, during this same time period of cholera, became involved in a dispute with Josephine Butler.
The name sounds familiar.
Yes, she was a feminist and social reformer who campaigned for women's suffrage.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. 'Cause I know at first I went Josephine Baker and I was like, yes.
Right.
And then I'm like, no.
Josephine Butler.
She's
So
not
Josephine
kidding.
Butler was against a bill
Okay.
that would it was called the Contagious Disease Acts Bill.
Okay.
But Butler felt like it discriminated against women, and Elizabeth took the view that it's something.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
She felt like the measures provided the only means of protecting innocent women and children that were available, even though they were not perfect or what they should be.
It's a start, basically. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
so they apparently had a very big dispute about that.
I mean, I can see that. You're coming at it from, different points of view for the same cause.
We
so,
still
yeah.
got stuff like that going on today. Like
Yeah.
there was
Oh, yeah.
something, I forget if it was nationally or just locally here in Indiana, something about like for women who are pregnant, some jobs don't want to let them like sit down for work or stuff where it's not covered under the Disability Act because you're not disabled. Like they don't give you
Right.
like temporary disability stuff.
Right. Because you're pregnant. It's not. Yeah, exactly. But
So some women are like, we should have this, and some of them are like, no.
Right.
Like we need something else, something better.
It's not under disability. Yeah. It just needs to be under, like, I don't know, being a decent person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what if you,
Accommodations.
yeah. Like, what if you break your leg? You know what I mean? Can you sit? I mean, yeah. But yes.
Well, the next one is number 7 is one of my favorite about her.
Yeah.
She still wanted that MD.
Yeah.
So she literally taught herself how to speak French
Oh.
so she could go to college in France to become an MD.
Right.
Nice.
Which she did, and she became the first in 1870, the first woman in France to get an MD.
Nice.
Excellent. Good job. Bonjour.
Bonjourne.
Oh, God.
That's why I'm not allowed to speak French.
Yeah, please.
And I don't have all the British Medical Association. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm highlighting stuff, so I wanted to jump out, but I don't have all the names of all the different associations. But
That's
anyway,
fine. Yeah.
she went to school in France, got her MD. So she came back and she wanted to have membership in the British Medical Association, so she would be recognized as a physician in
Yes.
Britain as well. So, she found, I don't know if it was a loophole, but there was nothing barring her from doing it. So of course she did it.
Right. Yes.
Yep.
And then
That's
I think
what
you
gotta
guys
do.
are going to
Right.
love this.
Let me guess. They changed the rules.
Yes.
Yeah, they did.
They gave her the MD. No, they changed the rules so she was the only one that could.
But at least she got through.
Yeah, so for like
Yes.
20 years, she was the only MD
Mm-hmm.
in England because after she got through, they
Yeah.
changed it so women could not sit for getting licensure and having an MD.
Just one.
She sounds like she also could have been a lawyer with all this like
Right.
research and finding
I'm
the
still
little
thinking there's some
loopholes.
mafia connections. I'm going to
Well,
make him an offer. he
I
can't
still have
refuse.
facts 9 and 10, and her life is not over yet.
Oh, bring
So-
it.
Number 9 is that she co-founded the first teaching hospital in Britain to offer courses for women.
Oh,
Nice.
good.
So she got her MD, and then she opened a school
Yes, because it's lifting us
for teaching other women how to be doctors.
Yes.
And
That's
started
amazing.
doing that.
Granted, they can't get licensed, but they can learn.
So because she opened this school, she also became the dean of the British Medical School, which made her the first woman dean of a school.
Yes.
What first is she going to reserve for anybody else, though?
There you
Just
go.
saying.
It's totally fine. Somebody's got to
then-
be the first, and she's
And then
getting
they changed
things
the
done.
rules
right,
to not
exactly.
allow any more
Right.
female deans.
Uh
Feel
huh.
bad.
But I like
Right.
it though. Breaking glass ceilings everywhere, and then having them sealed shut.
So I kind of spoiled that, but that she was the only female member of the British Medical Association for 19 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But that's because they wouldn't let anybody else in. They changed
Yeah.
the rules. So,
My last fact for you
yes.
is that towards the end of her life, well, this was kind of sprinkled throughout, but she was also active in politics and the women's suffrage movement.
Yay!
And in fact, I think it was like 3 years before she died. She died in 1917.
Oh, yeah.
So not 3
What was
years
the-
before, but I think it was 1908 she became the first female mayor in England.
Oh.
To the little town she grew up in, that she went there and they voted her as mayor.
Shoot a mayo.
Yeah, it was 1908.
When
So
was the
It's
right to
A
vote?
few years before ours, I want to say it was
1918?
18.
That's what I was thinking too. And she
yeah,
died.
no, she literally became mayor before she could vote for herself to be mayor.
Oh, wow.
There was not suffrage when she became mayor
Wow.
of her town of I've avoided saying it because it looks weird.
Oh, was it white?
Sure.
Alderberg.
Alderberg. Oh, yes. Exactly.
Was her little burg.
Look at that. Cute.
And she was part of the more extreme women's suffrage committees and activists.
Right.
There's
throwing
pictures of her with
rocks and-
Emmeline Pinkhurst
Yes.
throwing rocks. She was definitely radical. I think it was when they started doing like they were burning people's houses down.
Yeah.
That's when she was like, no, I can't go that far. And she broke
Gotcha.
with them. But I thought it was pretty interesting because she backed away from them. But her daughter, who also became a doctor, stuck with the suffragette
nice.
movement.
I'm trying to remember in the suffragette movie that had Meryl Streep in it, there was an apothecary lady who was in it, who they were like, you know, messages through, and it was like a delivery place, you know, for the suffragettes. I didn't catch if whether it was a real person or it
Could be based on her.
It could have been
anyway.
homage to her or her daughter.
Yeah.
Right.
So her daughter's name
but yeah.
was Louisa.
Oh,
She was also a physician and more militant about the suffrage movement, and actually spent time in prison in 1912 because
Right.
of her suffrage activities.
Look at that. It could have been her, but it could have been any apothecarius because she was teaching the other women how to do it. Amazing.
Yeah. I feel like I just have to give you her little Wikipedia again here so you can hear these firsts all together.
Yeah, do it.
'Kay.
Exactly. So what were her first?
She was the first woman to, I mean, it's exhausting, isn't it?
No, I'm
lot.
proud. I'm
imagine
proud.
how
No, I'm
she
proud of
felt.
her, but I was like, I don't think I have any firsts. How'd she do all this? She was the first woman to qualify in Britain as a physician and surgeon. She was the co-founder of the first hospital staffed by women, the first dean of a British medical school, the first woman in Britain to be elected to a school board. I forgot to tell you guys about that. She
school
did that
board.
like right when she was becoming a physician, and it just was kind of too much and distracting, so she didn't do that for very long.
Gotcha.
And also the first mayor in Britain.
Yay!
So
Nice.
That is amazing.
I know. I was like, I was looking for a science gal, and she's certainly that, but I'm like, she was doing all the things.
Yeah, exactly. She's very much a crossroads of a whole bunch of different things that we talk about.
And what a time, like, of progress for women that she
Yeah.
was alive in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
See,
I'm
trailblazing.
still amazed that she was able to attend a lecture in America by a female physician that they like let women in on that lecture.
Right, true.
For
To
her
see
to
Blackwell.
even get that like influence.
The
from
Blackwell was in England.
it. Uh-huh.
Oh, Blackwell came to England?
Mhm.
Oh.
So I can, if you want to know, Bonnie,
Gotcha.
I can tell you
Miss
when
Blackwell, if
she
you're
when she
nasty.
met her. So Blackwell visited London in 1859, and Garret traveled to the capital to meet her. And how she found out about her was when Elizabeth Blackwell was published in the English Women's Journal,
Oh, okay.
was something she wrote. So,
Oh.
yep.
Nice.
and she was part of a society for promoting the employment of women. Elizabeth was, and they're the people who organized Blackwell's lectures on medicine as a profession for ladies,
Yeah.
and set up a private meeting between Elizabeth and Elizabeth.
Elizabeth and Elizabeth.
A private meeting for the two
I was like, all the
Elizabeths.
Elizabeths to please come to the yard.
But I thought what an incredible tie with the purpose of our library too, because she obviously, as so many
Yeah.
of the women we talk about do, but
Way more
had,
than one thing.
she had mentors. Well, and she
Yes.
had mentors. She mentored other people.
Yeah.
Supporting all women because she wanted to be a doctor, but she was going to discuss the topic of how can we get women in general into all of these professions.
Right.
Oh, I know. I'll assign my best friend to colleges, my sister to getting women's votes. Done.
Exactly. Charlie's Angels, once again. Beautiful. I think that's fantastic. Do you want to wrap us
I do.
up, Tolly?
All right.
I love it. I love it. Wherever that page may be, I
got
don't know.
Well, that wraps it up for us this week. Join us next week for another cool woman of history as Gal's Guide podcast continues. Thanks for listening.
For show notes, links, and images from this week's show, visit galsguide.org. Want exclusive stuff like deleted bits and major bloopers? Become a Gal's Guide patron today. Thanks for listening.